There may not have been 5 overtimes, but Joey Logano once again wins a chaotic race to punch his ticket into the NASCAR playoffs. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove on the Go, coming to you from Pit Road Exit here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Look, can I just say, as the internet's only Texas Motor Speedway fan, it's my home track. I saw my first race here 20 years ago. Gosh, it's been that long. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug. I get it. But can I say one nice thing about Texas Motor Speedway? The crowd. The track said this was, I think the words they used were one of the largest NASCAR crowds they have seen in 15 years. It helps that the weather was picture perfect the past 2 days, 70s and sunny. It also helps that they no longer race here twice a year, spring and fall. Now it's just the spring. There was a race a few hours south in Austin just a few weeks ago, but this is now the only Texas Motor Speedway date. So it helps. You consolidate the crowd into one weekend. But it was, objectively speaking, a really strong crowd out here at Texas Motor Speedway. Looked good in person. It looked the part on TV. So as a Texas Motor Speedway fan, call it nostalgia, I wanted to begin this video by saying one positive thing about my home track, because we've got plenty of negative things to come here in the next few minutes. Texas Motor Speedway has only gotten sketchier with age. Repaved, reconfigured in 2017, but the past 4 years, the past 4 next-gen races, we've seen 16, 11, 16, 12 caution flags. And shoot, all 3 races this weekend were decided in overtime. Actually, Trucks and Xfinity went to double overtime. There's your 5 overtimes. We did have 5 overtimes this weekend. No wonder Joey Logano won. No, in all seriousness, let's talk about Joey Logano for a moment, because we have so much else to get to tonight, and you'll hear from some of the top finishers a bit later in the show. But Joey Logano, him winning a race is not shocking. Him winning this race, yeah, I did not see that coming. I know. You look at some of the numbers. This is only his second top 10 finish of the season. This was his first top 5 since last week's top 5 was taken away via the disqualification. But he's still been in the top 10 in the regular season points because of all the stage points he's earned. He's led a ton of laps this season, most of them at Super Speedway racing, but still. The initial stats don't tell the full story. The underlying data shows that Joey Logano has had more speed than a lot of folks have been willing to give him credit for. But that's really the story of Team Penske more broadly. I could say everything I'm saying now about Ryan Blaney as well. Except Ryan Blaney's actually been better than Joey Logano this season. He has gotten a few top 5s, a few top 10s, and he's dealt with engine failures, issues on pit road. It's shocking now that I take a step back that Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, and Josh Berry, for that matter, have wins this season, and Ryan Blaney, who's probably run the best of the bunch, is still sitting at 0. That's brutal, man. No wonder Ryan Blaney was kind of upset, not feeling too great on pit road post-race. But credit to Joey Logano. I mean, it was just a sneaky race. He only earned 2 stage points. He worked his way to the back half of the top 10 at the end of stage 2, had some good pit stops. Then, of course, when the Jesse Love caution happened in stage 3 during that green flag cycle, he leapfrogged a couple of guys who got trapped a lap down, another strong pit stop at the end to get inside the top 5, and then he just executed on the restarts. We know Joey Logano's very good at restarts, and ultimately that's how he was able to win this race. That block Michael McDowell threw down the back straightaway towards the end there, that was a pucker moment right there. Blocked Joey all the way down to Waco. Logano perseveres, gets the win. He is locked into the playoffs. Again, he was top 10 in points before today began, but now it's official. Joey Logano will race for his 4th Cup Series championship. He'll have a shot at defending his title in a few months. But there are so many other drivers, so many other moments to get to. We need to move on. Kyle Larson led the most laps in this race once again and was leading late in this race when Michael McDowell, with only 2 fresh tires on his Chevrolet, got the jump on him and took the lead. Then he lost grip under Reddick, almost crashed them both. Kyle still finished top 5 today, but boy, it felt like he let a win slip through his fingers. Kyle Larson on pit road after the race talking about what went wrong on that restart with Michael McDowell.
I just got predictable, and him and Reddick just anticipated it, and they were formed up, ready to go, and I kind of launched away from the 12, and even though you're going slow, then the draft and pushes really matter. So I just didn't have that behind me, and yeah, they had me cleared before, or the 71 had me cleared before 1. So was hoping he was going to leave me a lane for some clean air, but he closed off and I got tight, and then got tight again in 3 and 4, and ran Reddick up out of the groove. So yeah, just kind of race fell apart right there for me.
I know nobody likes to talk about this anymore, but it was a good points day still for Kyle Larson. He earned 17 stage points, finished inside the top 5. He eats into William Byron's regular season points lead significantly, from 31 points back to now only 13 points back. So all things considered, still not a bad day for Kyle Larson. I mentioned Michael McDowell earlier. Got to give that guy a shout out, dude. This is why Spire Motorsports brought him into this organization. Veteran presence. He's won the Daytona 500. He won a road course race in this car just a couple years back. I think he elevated Front Row Motorsports' performance the past couple of years. Spire wanted to bring some of that special sauce into their house, and today qualified 5th, ran up inside the top 10, top 15 much of the day. A pit road penalty at the start of stage 3. That's how late in the game it happened. Cost him all his track position, but a 2-tire gamble late got him back up front. That was, I think, a top 5, maybe top 10 car at the very least. If they don't have that pitting out of the box penalty, depending on how they cycled during that green flag sequence, maybe he would have been in Joey Logano's position, but with the 4 fresh tires instead of having to play defense on 2. Still, hate to see him lose air behind Blaney there and crash hard down the backstretch in the closing laps. The finish will not reflect how fast Spire Motorsports as a whole was today. Carson Hocevar, the young driver, qualified on the pole, was fastest in practice. He was my one to watch. He earned stage points, but he got trapped by that untimely Jesse Love spin and caution flag during green flag pit stops and wasn't able to recover. In fact, he crashed himself and Ryan Preece, I think racing angry, trying to get some positions back. So brutal finish for Spire after a very promising day. The speed is almost there. Spire's got good speed. Now they just need to finish races. I guess that's easier said than done. Let's take a quick look at the top finishers here. Ross Chastain somehow finishes second. I talk about this every week, but Ross is decent most of the day, but then I look up at the end and he's in that 6th to 9th place range. Today, he snuck up there to 2nd place. Great execution by Ross Chastain and his Trackhouse team. 2nd place for him. 3rd place, Ryan Blaney. I think Ryan Blaney had the best overall car for sure on the long run, but that's a given at this point. Whether it's Martinsville, Phoenix at the end of last season, go back to Darlington or Homestead earlier this year, Ryan Blaney is so damn good, so consistent, so smooth on the long run, seemingly regardless of track tire combination. That was the case once again today, but he unfortunately never got the ultimate track position. I don't think he ever truly got the lead, got clean air. And the one opportunity he had on that late restart to pick the outside next to Larson, he chose not to. He chose to take the safer inside lane behind Larson, and that was the restart. McDowell got the jump. So Ryan Blaney was not too happy about the way this race ended for him, and he was certainly not a fan of the sketchy Texas Motor Speedway surface.
The track sucks. It's terrible. It looks like there's 2 lanes at a time, but you see guys bust their butts over in 3 and 4 all the time because there's a massive bump, so you don't even want to run up there. So the track is not very racing.
Kyle Larson already talked about, finished 4th. Eric Jones finished 5th, and his legacy teammate John Hunter Nemechek with a top 10 himself. Best race of the season for Legacy Motor Club, even better than the Daytona 500, I'd argue, where they had 3 cars in the top 12. This is an intermediate track where balance matters, handling is huge. You have to execute, especially late, to not lose track position. You're not getting it back, at least not quickly. I'll say this. Eric Jones maybe could have contended for the win today, but they put themselves behind several times. 2 pit road penalties. They had a speeding penalty, and then they had some other issue with the pit crew. I think it was an equipment interference penalty. 2 issues on pit road, yet Eric Jones overcame all that to finish 5th. Talked to him after the race about what this finish means for the entire company, maybe some momentum going into the next few intermediate tracks.
We weren't up there all day because we kind of screwed around with a couple penalties that put us to the back, but we had the speed all day to be up there. So yeah, I was happy with that. Just, we unloaded good yesterday, and just proud of the group. Kind of, like I said, it's been a long road and a lot of work to get to this point, and I hope it keeps trending this way, keeps going this way. But yeah, feels good to get up front and be in contention for one. It's just been a while, and hopefully we keep stacking these up.
Lots of feel-good stories here. Stenhouse with a top 10 finish. Austin Dillon top 10 finish. Daniel Suarez. I know he had that incident with Tyler Reddick. Reddick, in my opinion, cleared himself here in the dog leg behind me, but he comes through with a top 10. Even Christopher Bell, who had to pit multiple times early because of a hose issue with his helmet, he scores a top 10 finish. Todd Gilliland rebounds to finish 11th. He was one of those drivers who was inside the top 10 when that green flag cycle began, but got trapped a lap down by the Jesse Love spin. So many feel-good stories in the top 10, top 15. That's why we talked about on the show earlier this week, Texas Motor Speedway, the past few years, has become a wild card race. Once again, we saw that here today. A lot of big names not pictured on this graphic. Let's discuss some of them. First DNF of the year for driver Denny Hamlin. Lost a motor, I believe, in stage 1. That is brutal, considering he entered this race 3rd in the regular season standings. Remember, at the end of the regular season, the top 10 points finishers pay out playoff points depending on your ranking. So jumping from 3rd to 2nd or from 3rd on to where is he now? Oh, wow, he's still 3rd, but actually only 3 points separate him from 6th. So losing positions in points can cost you playoff points at the end of the season. That impacts your championship run. Just a tough break for Denny Hamlin. It was also a rough day for his Toyota teammate Chase Briscoe, who I spoke very highly of yesterday. Felt like he and James Small had found a pretty good rhythm early this season. While they aren't knocking on the door of that first win together, they are consistently showing top 10 speed, in my opinion. And coming into today, we're 12th in the regular season standings. They've dropped one spot back to 13th after a crash on a restart. Briscoe is up on the outside, 3rd lane, going through 3 and 4 when he hit that treacherous turn 4 bump, looped the car around, crashed, limped it home to a 27th place finish. Tough break, leaving valuable points on the board. Speaking of tough breaks, Kyle Busch, absolutely brutal for all the Kyle Busch fans out there. I feel for y'all. Celebrate his 40th birthday, debuting a beautiful 7-Eleven paint scheme, pretty cool. A track that RCR's won at in recent years. Kyle Busch won here just a few years ago towards the end of his JGR tenure. Things felt good, especially when the Chevys fired off in qualifying. Kyle Busch grinded his way towards the top 10 all night long. He cracked the top 10 purely on pace, purely on performance when the Jesse Love spin happened during green flag pit stops. That cycled Kyle Busch into the top 5, where he then drove his way up to 3rd. Okay, all right, and lost it. I've never been one of those fans who boo Kyle Busch. I've always been fairly indifferent, just enjoying the show from a distance. But nowadays, I'll admit, I find myself rooting for Kyle Busch to string together some good finishes, get that win finally. His winless streak is now up to 68 races, I believe. You can't let that streak get any nicer, Kyle. Got to snap that streak sooner rather than later. Hey, Kansas is next week. He was good there in the fall. You never know. But at some point, as much as he wants to win, as much as we all want to see him get that monkey off his back, I think you do just need to take the top 5s, take the top 10s when they come. I know that's not how Kyle Busch is used to driving. I know he's used to running on the razor's edge, being uber aggressive, getting the most out of his equipment, but at some point I fear he might have to just take what the car gives him. If it's given him a 7th place finish 7th. String together some good runs, because winning is difficult, and while I know that's what every driver wants to do, it's difficult to build momentum, build morale at the shop when you're bringing home wrecked race cars every 2-3 weeks, unfortunately. So really tough breakdown. I found myself rooting for Kyle Busch, and I was disappointed when I saw his chances at a good run go up in smoke. Bubba Wallace crashed late in this race. He was a little wide on the restart. He had Joey Logano on his left rear, hanging there, both being very aggressive. Bubba hit the wall, bounced off it, triggered a big wreck down the backstretch that involved Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman, I think, had a top 5 car tonight, but had a couple issues on pit road today. I don't know exactly what they were, but I think in stage 1 he lost about 10 positions, and then he lost a few positions again in stage 3, which put him in the hornet's nest when the big wreck broke out, unfortunately. So tough break for Alex Bowman and for Bubba Wallace, who I think had a pretty good car. I'm trying to think about other deals. Oh, I mentioned the Hocevar Priest crash at the end as well. At that point, they were back in the pack after getting trapped a lap down. Yeah, I felt bad for both drivers, because I think they had top 5, top 6 runs going before they caught that caution at a bad time. So I felt really bad for them that they were back in traffic. They didn't deserve to be there. Unfortunately, Hocevar just slipped up and wrecked them both. It's been a brutal few weeks for RFK Racing. Talladega last week, Keselowski, Buescher, both crashed out. Priest finished 2nd, then got disqualified. Today, Chris Buescher running 3rd, flat tire wrecks. Brad Keselowski spins out on his own, crashes, and then Ryan Preece. Bad luck with the caution coming out and then gets wrecked. Like, that was a big hit, too, on the backstretch wall for Ryan Preece. Just brutal, really brutal for this team that I feel has found some speed. I mean, at one point in this race, both Chris Buescher and Ryan Preece were inside the top 5. They both got stage points today. Like, the 17 and the 60 look pretty good. The real concern I have is with Brad Keselowski. At some point, I worry difficult conversations are going to need to be had if they haven't been had already. Because Brad Keselowski, I mean, it's not all him. You know, sometimes it's an issue on pit road. Sometimes it's just being wrong place, wrong time, bad luck on a restart, for example. But 11 races in, not a single top 10 finish for the 2012 Series champion. He is 32nd in points. The only guys behind him are rookies like Riley Herbst and Shane Van Gisbergen, who looks lost at ovals, and then Cody Ware and the ghost of Haas, I guess. Those are the only cars worse than Brad Keselowski in points. His teammates are up there running top 10, top 5. In fact, they both earned stage points today. Brad did not. Brad Keselowski did not earn a single stage point and then crashed on his own. Like, again, it's not all him, but difficult questions may need to be asked because he's been terrible this season. New crew chief, can't put all the blame on him either. Just bad. Things are bad over at the 6. I don't know what you do. I mean, Brad, I know he's taken on a whole lot more as a co-owner of RFK Racing. Is there a point in the near future where he steps into that position full time? I'm not trying to retire anyone here. Brad Keselowski's a champion. He's earned the right to go out on his own terms. Of course, I'm just saying, if things continue down this path, it may be the best business decision to make some radical changes over at the 6. I'm not ready to say it yet. I'm just saying, before long, those conversations may need to be had. If things don't start to turn around. 11 races in, not a single top 10, another wrecked race car this afternoon, man. I'm a big Roush Fenway Keselowski fan, of course. Nostalgia talking once again. I want to see this team do well, and past couple weeks, the results have been absolutely brutal. I'm skimming through my notes here. Talk about hard conversations about Brad. It may be time for some hard conversations about the whole number 9 team. Chase Elliott won this race last spring. That was also his last points-paying NASCAR Cup Series win. Chase Elliott qualified 29th this weekend. His teammates were 2nd, 4th, and 11th. Shoot, Spire Motorsports, who uses Hendrick data, were 1st, 5th, and 15th. Michael McDowell damn near almost won the race on 2 tires. Chase Elliott took 2 tires at one point in this race and all but wrecked, all by himself. Lost all his track position. He finished 16th, even with all the chaos and the carnage. I don't think Elliott had an issue on pit road all day. I don't think there were any penalties. They were just slow. And the one time he finally got some clean air, he choked it. Like, I mean, what is up? What is going on with Chase Elliott and the 9 team? I can't even criticize because they're top 5 in the regular season points because they have earned some stage points. They do somehow grit and grind their way to a lot of top 10 finishes when I don't think they truly have top 10 cars. Chase Elliott's good. We know Chase Elliott's a champion, and I don't even just think it's this car. Does this car, the next gen, suit his driving style exactly right? No, we know it does not. But he did win 5 races in 2022, the first year of it. So, I'm not saying Chase Elliott can't drive. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that some combination of driver, engineering, strategy, pit road, whatever, the combination is not working on the 9 as well as it's working on the 5, the 24, and the 48. It's officially been over a year now since Chase Elliott's last points-paying win. Like with Brad Keselowski in the 6 team, I think before long, difficult conversations may need to be had about the 9. Not saying that means Alan Gustafson should go, because Alan Gustafson's had tremendous success throughout his career. Veteran, plenty of experience that you can lean on. I'm just saying something needs to change. They need to shuffle the deck to some degree. I don't know what that looks like specifically. All I know is the eye test tells me the speed is lacking in the number 9 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. Today was just further evidence of that. Oh, jump scare, my goodness, that's right. It's finally time for the electric e-bikes groovy gauge Texas Motor Speedway, y'all. It is undeniably sketchy. Drivers after the race talked a little bit about preparing for this track and how it is or isn't really evolving, like Eric Jones had this to say.
I feel like there was 3 lanes to race in both ends, so I thought that was positive. Felt like I could, we went to the back twice and we ran 5th, so it's possible to get through the field. So hopefully it just keeps getting better and better.
Ryan Blaney obviously had strong words saying that this track sucks in his opinion, but I asked him about, how do teams prepare for it? And he seemed to suggest that because turns 1 and 2 are so different from 3 and 4, you have to get a setup that works at both, and that can make your car extremely susceptible to those bumps in 3 and 4. You kind of have to live with that to be fast in 1 and 2, at least if I'm interpreting his comments correctly. This was Blaney.
You know what's going to happen, but like you have to commit, or you just bail, or you wreck. So yeah, it's something but you can't just sacrifice ride height because now you're terrible in 1 and 2. So it's a tricky deal.
If this race had finished under green, I really liked how that green flag pit cycle was shaping up before the Jesse Love spin. It looked like you were going to have Larson, who's been fast with the track position, trying to hold off guys like Blaney, Reddick, who were really, really good on the long run. I figured we'd have a really good 3-4 car battle for the win. Ty Gibbs, Carson Hocevar, young, hungry drivers trying to get their first win would have been in the mix. If this race plays out under green with those characters, I think it would have been a very satisfying finish. But because we had several late race cautions, I think the pace of the race was grueling towards the end. You still had some awesome moments like McDowell getting the jump on Larson and then Joey Logano working his way past McDowell, who slips up. Like, that was still exciting at the end. It just didn't have rhythm. Texas Motor Speedway is not a good track. Will I say it's broken? No. Because, you heard some of those driver comments. Everyone's aware of Turn 4. I talked about Turn 4 on my show this week. We saw so many big crashes there last year. Everyone knows those bumps exist, and they know they're not getting particularly better. Nobody was shocked or surprised by what they experienced today. I'm not going to say the track is broken, but I will say it is a shell of its former self. It'll never get back to the raciness we saw before the 2017 reconfiguration, sadly. Man, I think 2014 Texas with this car would put on a whale of a show, but I don't think that's ever going to happen, sadly. So that is a bummer. Overall, I thought this was an eventful race. Lots to talk about. Strategy came into play. I'm going to give this race a 65% on the groovy gauge. I thought it was an above average race. Didn't think it was amazing. Didn't think it was great by any means, but it had action. It gave us things to talk about, and that's more than we can say about some of the races in recent weeks. 65% on the groovy gauge for me. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. We'll wrap things up there. It's just tough because the track hasn't widened out at all. It's still like basically a 2-lane track. Maybe you could argue there's a 3rd lane there, but it's so easy to aero block, and if you step outside of those usable lanes, you wreck. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, The sketchiness of Texas Motor Speedway combined with the nefarious next-gen car equals carnage. I think that's just what we have to come to expect. I said it before the week began. Wild card race. That looked pretty wild to me. Now we know what to expect going into 2026 and beyond. That's all for me, folks. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more NASCAR news, rumors, race reactions, and so much more every day, every week, all year long. Big thank you to my Patreon supporters. It was great to meet so many fans at the track this weekend. It's always cool to see racing come to my hometown. I live about 45 minutes away from the track now, so it's cool to have a legitimate home track for the first time ever. And it was great to see an awesome crowd here in Fort Worth, Texas. That'll do it for me, folks. Thanks for watching this episode. I will catch you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your weekend.